Now we come to the fifth of the seven deadly sins, which is gluttony, which that word has always amused me, really, but it's a real thing. It is a problem for many people. Gluttony is usually associated with eating too much food, but it could also be to do with alcohol or drugs, but that's more in the realms of addiction, and we're going to talk about that separately later on. It could also be things or money or possessions, so it can be all kinds of things, but we all usually talk about food, and an awful lot of people, when they get emotionally upset, they start to eat. We call it comfort eating because we need some consolation to allay our stress. And it's a very tricky thing because so many people get into this as a habit. And habits, of course, keep on growing, getting more steadfast in us. So we need to head in the opposite direction. Now, as we've seen with the other deadly sins, there is always a cardinal virtue, which is the opposite or complement. In this case, it's temperance, holding back from indulging yourself. It's very difficult because if you've got that emotional pull, it's very difficult to let go of it. One of the things we've seen with the others, if you head in the opposite direction, you do the opposite thing from the deadly sin, and that helps. And in this case, that would be fasting. If you go on a fast, in other words, you don't eat anything for a period of time, that gets you out of the habit of reaching for the fridge every time you get upset. Now, fasting, I want to say one thing. It's very important about fasting. If you suffer from any kind of eating disorder, then fasting is not for you. Please, if you've got an eating disorder, don't even think about it. Just skip through this and go to the next one. But if you're not suffering from an eating disorder, fasting is a viable option to take you in the opposite direction. When you fast, you just stop eating altogether. You normally would drink water because otherwise, you die a lot quicker from thirst than you do from hunger. So a water fast is a common way of doing it. Lots of Christians fast every Friday. The Muslims tend to do it once a year in a big block in a month. So there's all sorts of variations on this. I'm going to do a whole separate post on fasting, but basically if you stop eating for a period of time, it breaks that habit of running to the fridge every time you feel upset. Also, while you're fasting, gives you more energy and more motivation to think about other things, other ways to console yourself. So it's really a viable option to get out of this habit, but you may find you need professional help to guide you through this. But I will do a whole load of stuff later on fasting because it's a big subject. I've been doing it for 25 years, so I've got lots to say about that. Anyway, in the meantime, stay away from the fridge, find other ways to console yourself, and you'll release yourself from the deadly sin of gluttony. Thank you for listening.